Salutations, my Fallout lovers. It is Matty here today, bringing you my Fallout 3 2014 review. So what is the 2014 review? Well, me and Connor are here together, and basically Connor has finally played Fallout 3 for the first time in 2014, and we're going to be seeing how his opinions vary against someone such as IGN or GameSpot, where they reviewed those games back in 2008 or 2009 if you're talking about the Game of the Year edition. So Connor, say hello.
What's going on, guys? How are you?
And let's hop straight into this. So, Fallout 3 is a very awesome game in my opinion. Now, Connor, how do you think the open world for Fallout 3 compares to other games nowadays, such as Thief, God forbid we ever speak of that game, Watch Dogs, Shadow of Mordor, these games that are open worlds nowadays, do you think that maybe they took some inspiration from Fallout 3, or do you think they're trying to set their own identity, or do you think Fallout 3 is honestly just its open world was constructed a lot better in these games? Thief, it was obviously constructed a lot better. But
I definitely think that the open world in Fallout 3 is definitely a basis of new games that are coming out now. Mm-hmm. I think that when it comes to Thief, I think that the Thief open world was atrocious. I thought that game was terrible.
Yeah, that game was
it
so bad. It
deserved like a 6 or whatever it was rated. Like it definitely deserved a low rating.
It was really one of the worst games this year.
Definitely. But what I have to say is that it definitely compares to the new open worlds. I think that a lot of open worlds these days rely on detail, rely on what you can see from a distance, like how clear it is, how you can see a blade of grass like in the wind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I definitely think that the open world in the Wasteland is an awesome type of topic, I guess, or a great open world generator kind of thing. But I think that the open world for what technology they had back then, I think it's a very good open world for what they had back then.
All right. So you did have one issue though with the open world.
Yes, I did.
And would you like to discuss that a little bit?
Yes, I would. The open world, I thought it was where you're traveling from one distance to the other. If you haven't been to that distance, you're trying to travel to.
Yeah.
You could fast travel if you know it, but if you don't, you're walking through this wasteland and there's nothing to do. Mm-hmm. I think that if I was walking through, like you discover a town that's run by certain types of rebels and stuff like that, or mutants, it would be cool to explore those type of things. But you're walking through various parts of the wasteland
and there's just nothing.
There's nothing there.
Just a few enemies to shoot, and I get that.
Exactly.
When you, ladies and gentlemen, I know we're all diehard Fallout fans here, but when you take an honest look at it, mods removed. Connor did play the vanilla version of Fallout 3, vanilla being the actual original, on the Xbox 360. That, when you're walking from point A to point B, when you take, for example, I think the first walk when you go to Rivet City, which is, I don't know if you remember, Connor, it's all the way on the bottom right corner of the map. It's that city on the ship.
It's all the way where there's like 2 other cities that are right next to it.
Yeah, it's right near I think the Jefferson Memorial. Anyways, that long walk to Rivet City, there's I think you go through a few metro tunnels, but other than that, there's really nothing to do in between. And we're not saying it's got to be like an Ubisoft game where, there's a 1,000,001 side objectives that you got to hunt down. But there's only a few enemies to shoot down from while you're going to point A to point B. And I can see that being a somewhat valid complaint nowadays. But then again, we have to take a look at, obviously,
came out in 2008.
Yeah, it came out in 2008, so maybe they didn't have the technological power to put stuff in between. Who knows? But anyways, it's a good thing worth mentioning. So while we're talking about gameplay and stuff, let's discuss the first-person shooting mechanics here. We were discussing a little bit before the video how, in all honesty, just the first-person shooting mechanics in Fallout 3 aren't that good.
No, it was kind of like a mini zoom. It wasn't like you're
not aiming down your sights.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a hip fire.
You aim down the sights fully, and you get to see like the person that you're shooting at.
Yeah.
You kind of just zoom in a little bit, and you have to like you said, rely on a hip fire kind of motion to hit your target. Now, you're gonna miss half the time unless you literally have perfect aim, which is very hard to accomplish, you know what I mean? So
and especially coming, for Connor, personally, coming fresh off games like Wolfenstein: A New Order or Destiny, for a more recent example, these very pinpoint first-person shooters, the shooting, and granted, yes, Fallout 3 came out in 2008, but the first-person shooting mechanics are not that good, and it's something that we've talked about in our Fallout 4 wishlist videos that we want to have improved.
Yeah, definitely.
But the shooting mechanics offer one very unique aspect in Fallout, and that's the V.A.T.S system. And Connor, We were talking about this a little bit, but what do you think about V.A.T.S? Do you think there's anything quite like V.A.T.S in other video games now?
I think that V.A.T.S is a very important aspect to a game. I think it's a very good mechanic, and I think that it's a really cool topic to talk about because it bases a lot on the games that are now.
Like you were saying, Dishonored.
A lot of games are basing themselves on it. Yeah, like Dishonored, you go into slow-mo, and then you can shoot someone with a dart or a arrow or whatever it is. But you slow down time so you don't get caught. And I think that's really cool how they have a V.A.T.S system in Fallout and how a lot of games these days base their systems off of it.
Yeah, it may not be exactly, because V.A.T.S is a very specific thing, like targeting body parts and just blowing them limb from limb.
Which is awesome, of course.
Yeah, which is very unique, and there's nothing quite like it. But I get what you're saying about, targeting and kind of going into slow-mo and strategically planning how you're going to pick apart your enemies in front of you. With a game like Dishonored, it's a very good comparison. So I'm glad that we did get to discuss that. So
yeah, I mean, V.A.T.S has its flaws.
Yes,
I mean,
we were talking about that. We were saying that, or actually, I shouldn't say we were saying. I was watching Connor play Fallout 3, and he was at the point where I'm assuming we've all beat Fallout 3 here. He was escaping the Enclave base, and he multiple times was going to shoot an enemy in the back of the head, an Enclave soldier to be exact. And for some reason, anytime he went to shoot him from behind, it was only a 55% chance of hitting them.
Yeah, which
at
makes
point
no
blank
sense.
range.
Exactly, at point blank.
So the mechanic does have its fair share of glitches or clunkiness to it, I guess you could say. It's not perfect.
What do you expect from a 2008 game? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had what they had at the time, and I think it's cool how they based it on other games based themselves off of this. Of that.
So good open world, very memorable shooting mechanics.
Definitely.
But let's move on to some of the atmosphere in the game, primarily the music. So we'll start off with the ambient music, which, fairly enough, I didn't know what it was until I started really looking deeply into Fallout and other games where, it's that music that you kind of hear in the background without really paying attention. Kind of like Skyrim, really, when you're walking around, you just hear that beautiful soundtrack of all the birds and shit. Anyways, though, what did you think? Did it really add to the atmosphere when I showed you that ambient music? Did you instantly think, all right, Wasteland, Fallout, I'm out there by myself?
As soon as I heard what the actual ambient music was, because I'm not going to lie, I didn't exactly know what he was talking about at the time.
That's fine.
But as soon as I heard it, I noticed it right away. I was like, oh, wow, that's the music that I'd never really heard until he actually mentioned it.
It's a hard way of describing it. It's like music you've heard, but it's like it just clicks with you. Like
it's always in the background, and it's not really something.
Yeah, it's not like you're gonna sit there and jam out to it. Such as the soundtrack in the game, which Connor made the same mistake I did. And
ladies and gentlemen, I didn't play the whole Fallout game with the radio on at all. And I feel like an idiot, but once we actually Matt introduced it to me and was like, dude, you have the radio off. I was like, oh, crap. We need to actually turn that on so I can see it, because I was like, it was a little annoying, but then I got used to it, and I thought it was actually really cool.
Yeah, I agree that when I first started playing Fallout 3, when I picked it up, I thought Three Dog was pretty damn annoying. Can't lie, hearing a guy constantly yelling in my ear when I'm shooting people can get a bit annoying, but I thought that showing Connor it was worth it, and he ended up really liking some of the music there. But he thought what was cool was you thought that it was awesome how they would mark the stuff you've done throughout the wasteland in your story.
Yeah, if you did something bad or evil karma in a way, good or evil karma, he based it off of that. He was like, oh, the wastelander from Vault 101 is this
a
evil
Messiah
guy
or something
like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool how they brought how he was talking about you when he didn't even know who you were and what you were going for. And I thought that was pretty cool.
He somehow got wind of your side objectives that you were completing, and just word traveled to him, and he covered it, even though you haven't talked to Three Dog in a while. I think that's pretty cool. But anyways, now let's cap this off with the story for Fallout 3. Even though it's an open world game, it's actually got a very well done story in my opinion, and it's a pretty story focused game considering at the end you can't fucking continue the game because of the ending. Anyways, Connor, what were your overall thoughts on the story? Let's just start off with something simple like that.
Alright, I thought the story was a very good story-based... I thought this game was awesome when it came to the story.
Yeah.
It had a lot of twists and turns that, of course, you see in different games now, but I didn't expect them to happen. I really didn't. Different things occurred during the story where I was like, oh, wow, that really happened right now? I didn't expect that.
Yeah, he's talking about times when Colonel Autumn ambushes you in Vault 87, and then you get captured by the Enclaves. Connor actually had the awesome moment of being able to convince President Eden to kill himself, destroy the Enclave.
Yes, I did, which is awesome.
What was really cool about it is he had like a 36% chance of succeeding at convincing him, and it actually worked. So that was pretty cool. But also, like, stuff like you thought Liberty Prime was sick.
I thought he was awesome because he was there the whole time and you never paid attention to him because, like, you didn't realize, oh shit, there's a robot next to me that they're building. Like, this is awesome. Yeah,
that's gonna basically destroy everything in a few seconds.
Which is weird because you would expect stuff like that in games these days.
Yeah.
But then, like, back then, like, all right, you're based on the story, you're focused on that. You're not looking to your right and see this big robot just chilling there, like, being made to, like, take over and like start killing people and stuff. Like, I thought that was really cool.
Now this question just crossed my mind. I kind of noticed it when watching the ending for Fallout 3 for like the millionth time. When you're walking through the wasteland and like Liberty Prime's destroying everything and like you keep getting hit by these bombs. Remember your leg limbs kept breaking.
My limbs kept breaking. I had like 9 stim packs and it went down to like 3. Like, it was just...
Yeah. I was kind of watching it and noticing that as awesome as an ending as it was, I felt it was a little bit it didn't feel as empowering as other endings nowadays do, because you were just kind of following Liberty Prime and he was doing all the killing. Did you kind of feel the same way? Because all you really did was kind of bring up your pit boy, you'd heal yourself real quick, and then you'd keep following behind him.
Yeah, I feel like that in games these days, when it comes to an ending, if there was any ending that was like that, I think that it would have been really cool if, like, if you got hit by a grenade or something like that, that you were down, they had to, like, carry you, like, through a way or something like that, or you had to carry somebody else. Like, a lot of games these days have endings where they actually hit you hard. They, like, sympathy card comes in, or the crazy, this is an awesome ending kind of thing comes into play. I thought the ending was awesome to Fallout 3, definitely.
Yeah.
But I just think that a lot more games get to the personal level with you.
Yes. Yeah, so yeah, I agree with that. The epilogue where he's like narrating all the stuff you did, like when they when they show like you blowing up Megaton.
If you did, which I did, which was
awesome. I convinced him to do it when he was first playing. But anyways, let's go on to the final thing that I want to do aside from the story, and that was kind of me and Connor briefly looked at a list of games that came out during the year of 2008. Along with Fallout 3, and some of them were like Army of Two, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, what else was...
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed, I think Mass Effect as well.
Kingdom of Hearts.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts for the, what was it? It was the remix or something like that, the Recoded, I think that's what it was. Anyways, a lot of those type of games came out this year. Would you say that Fallout 3 stood upon all those games as kind of the clear dominant game, even though the rest of those there were pretty good ones?
I'd have to say that a lot of the games that came out during that time, especially like I think Ratchet and Clank came out at that time.
Oh
too,
yeah,
which is one of my great childhood like story mode games, like awesome game that I loved playing. I think Fallout 3 for the time definitely stood above all the rest. I think it deserved the ratings it got from different companies.
Yes.
I think that for that time period, it deserved exactly what it got. The praise, the legendariness of the game. Like, I think it's an awesome game to come back on. And I think that it does stand above the other games at that time, even though those are great games.
Yeah, all right, yeah. He beat me to my next question, which was going to be, did he agree with the reviews? No, it's fine. That's what I was going to ask next is if you did agree with the review scores of the 9s and 10s, which you seem to agree with. So overall, it's a good game. You think it pretty much compares well and set the stage or laid out the land for a lot of other open world games to come throughout the 360 and PS3 generation. We thought that the first-person shooting was a little bit clunky, but V.A.T.S was it
was kind of like a thing in process.
It was a unique mechanic. The music, like you said, ambient music. When you heard it, you thought Fallout instantly. You were like me, didn't listen to the soundtrack for 3 Dog.
Yeah, but then when I did, I liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, and then you thought the story was very good, which is awesome because there's nothing better than an open world game with a good story as well. So yeah, that's basically the 2014 review. Now we know kind of the thoughts of someone who played Fallout 3 for the first time in 2013 versus you can go back and watch the reviews from, like I said, IGN, GameSpot, and kind of see their thoughts on it from 2008, 2009, like I said, if it were the Game of the Year edition. And yeah, so if we do get enough demands, which I'm thinking Connor's hoping he doesn't.
Yeah, not for that game.
We may do Fallout New Vegas, but Connor did pick up that game on launch day with me, and he didn't like it. Remember, I always say I didn't like it, so I can kind of understand if he's a little bit shying away from it, but if you guys do demand enough, we can consider it at least.
Definitely. It will be considered if you guys want it.
Yeah. Other than that, though, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you, Connor, for your time.
No problem.
Other than that, stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.
Peace.
There we go.